to our Tuesday morning beginner workout. This is one of my favorite ones. Stretch, strength, and sweat. And why I like it so much is it's just that natural progression of movements, and we get a little bit of everything in there. We get our mobility in there, we get our strengthening exercises in there, and then we get our cardio exercise in there. So without further ado, we will get started with just a mini warm-up. We're going to do some arm swings. So palms up, out to the side. I'm going to cross the body and turn the palms down, alternating which arm goes on top. And why we don't need to do too much of a workout today, or warm-up today, always do, an appropriate workout for yourself. Why we don't need to do too much of a warm-up today is, like I said, everything is built in for that natural progression. So you sort of warm up naturally. So we'll just try to get the body a little bit loose, get the blood flowing. If you haven't been up too long, it is important that we're not rigid going into this workout. So we'll start with our second warm-up exercise. We'll do our step and twist, step and twist. Hope everyone's doing well today. After the second night of the Oilers being shut out by the Leafs, I'm not in the greatest mood, but this workout will change everything, right? Make all my problems go away. You probably see I'm wearing a Lions shirt right now, Detroit Lions, so I am a bit of a glutton for punishment when it comes to losing. All right, and then we'll just do our side leans. Just make sure your area is clear for that. I'm not doing side lunges. I'm just stepping off to the side and allowing my trail leg to keep straight. And then we'll finish out with some jumping jacks. Oh, that was a rough one off the start. And as always, if the jumping jack is not your thing in terms of jumping up and down, you can always just do your step, right? And this doesn't necessarily mean I'm just taking my time off if I want to get my heart rate up. I can really step into that, right, and make it quick. All right. Without further ado, we'll go into exercise group 1. So we do have our groin stretch. This is going to be static. And what we're going to do is we're just going to do that side lunge almost. Less of that side lean, so getting really down in there, allowing that trail leg to stay straight. Halfway through, we'll switch sides. Sumo Deadlift, you don't need weights. You could really use anything that has a little bit of weight. You can even use a pillow, right? Like I use my pillow as I do my Sumo Deadlift. I'm going to use my weights, but feet are going to be wider than hip width. I'm going to hinge from the hips. Lift down, pull up, right? And then it's just nice to hold something to get that idea of what the deadlift is, so that when you're ready to progress, or maybe when you get some equipment, you are practiced in keeping the shoulders back and not allowing the weight or the object to, round you forward at the bottom where you get that round spine. We don't want that. And our sweat exercise is our lateral stairs. I suggest you have something a little bit shorter than a chair here. I'm just going to fold that up so I don't step on it. This is all I have, unfortunately, but it still means I'm going to get a pretty decent workout here. So what I'm going to do is for 30 seconds, I'm going to face this, or for 15 seconds, I'm going to face this way, where I step up and then down, up, and down. Make sure both feet come down, or you'll be cheating. It's fine to just keep your leg up if you want to get, a little bit quicker. That's fine too, actually. It's not cheating too much. That's actually pretty difficult at that height anyways. All right. So without further ado, we will get started with our groin stretch at 3, 2, and 1. Again, I'm sinking a little bit deeper into that groin stretch so the trail leg stays straight. Switch sides. Oh, I think I got a little bit distracted. Don't look at the time on some of these stretches because they feel pretty good. All right, and we have 10 seconds of rest. And then we're going to go into 30 seconds of our Sumo Deadlifts. Just enough time for me to grab my weights. Using the heavy weights today. Try to keep that back straight. My feet are wider than hip width, and they're pointed out. And that just allows me a little bit more room to bend down into that, or hinge down into that Sumo Deadlift. One more. Good. And keeping it a cardio move, I think I'm actually going to keep my foot up on this one and just step up. And then halfway through, I'm going to switch sides. I'm keeping the chest up. Nice. Being moved into my new house. Fortunately, I'm getting blocked by the ceiling fan, so be sure to, oh, we should have switched sides. I'll be sure to move the chair for the second round. But it is nice where I can do this, not worry about hitting my head. All right, we went a little bit extra there. That's okay. Round 2. Groin stretch. It's nice too because that was actually pretty tough. Heart starting to race. I can get a little bit of a breather. Switch sides. You might notice the second round you can get a little bit more range of motion in your stretches than in the first round. That's just because you're warmed up a little bit more. All right, grab our weights. Now, deadlift is one of the more difficult moves. I find more people can lift more weight on the sumo style, but we're just focused on hinging at the hips, keeping the hands close to the legs, pushing the hips forward while keeping the chest up. Do those nice straight lines all the way through the exercise, right? Excellent. It's okay if yours don't look, as good as mine do. It's an exercise that takes practice. But as long as you stick with it, yeah, it's gonna move this. As long as you stick with it, then you'll be okay. My face isn't being blocked by the light. We'll switch sides because I went over again. Excellent. Not a lot of time, but I sort of wasted my time transitioning. But it's okay because I can just sit into this stretch for round 3. Controller is back there. I'll make sure to turn it to round 3. Switch sides. Next time, get my hands on it. By now, this stretch should feel, extremely comfortable to sit into, not tight at all. Grab our weights. Do our deadlift. Again, you don't need to have weights on this. You could just focus on form. You could focus on the exercise. Your body has weight to it in order to hinge. And your range of motion doesn't have to be to the floor, right? It could be there. It could be to the thighs. It could be to the middle of the shin. It could be to the floor. I don't quite make it to the floor. I make it to about halfway down my shins. I keep my chest up. Always breathing. Don't need to hold my breath for these exercises. Set the weights down. And I'm actually done with these, so I'm going to get right out of my way. And I'm hopping on my chair. Third time's a charm. I'm going to switch at the appropriate time. But again, I actually just sort of figured that this does switching a better cardio exercise when I keep my leg up, because it's so high. I'm taking it away from being strength exercise and more cardio exercise. All right. I'm just going to move this chair back. Hold my mat back out. Show you guys what group 2 looks like while I'm doing all this. Whew. You know what? We're going to go ahead and take a second, grab a drink. Those lateral stairs are tough, and we always want to hydrate. All right. So Piriformis Stretch, what we're going to do, this is going to be very tight in runners, the Piriformis, not so tight in others. So I'm going to show you guys 2 different stretches that we can do. The first one, you can just simply cross our legs over. And if my left leg is crossed over, I'm pushing my hips off to the right and getting a bit of stretch in the side there. And again, halfway through, we'll switch sides. Right over to the left, and then I would push my hips over to the left. I'm actually going to show you guys 3 stretches. If you don't feel that one so much, what we can do is we can sit on the chair, cross our leg over, and lean forward. That's a pigeon stretch. Some people will feel that more halfway through switch sides. Or you can go to the ground and do the one that we do after. Usually in our cool down, cross our left leg over our right, on our back, left hand through the hole, right hand on the outside of the leg, and pull the knee towards the chest. I'll do one on each round so you guys can see. Around the world, fire hydrants again. We're in that quadruped position. I'm going to extend my leg out into the bird dog, bring it back and around. And then we're going to reverse it. I'm going to extend, go out. And I'm never going to let the knee touch the ground, all right? And again, from the front, that looks like quadruped position. Knee comes out. I extend it, bring it back in. And then I extend it, bring it out. So we're going to alternate that way today. Try something a little different. And then mogul's hop. If you're familiar with skiing, this might seem a little familiar, but essentially we're just doing quick side-to-side jumps, nice soft landings for 30 seconds. That one's going to be tough. I will tell you that much for free. So we'll start with our standing here. Whoop. Everything's okay, nothing stopped there, so that's good. Always worried. So I'm going to start with the standing Piriformis stretch. You can start with wherever felt best for you. I'm crossing my right over my left. Push my hips to the left. Feel that stretch in the side there. Halfway through, I'll switch sides. Runners will typically feel this one, you know, a lot more. They tend to get it a little bit more. In the side of the hip in the Piriformis, TFL. All right, then enough time to get down to the ground for the around the world fire hydrants. And I'm going to try giving you guys the view laterally on the first leg, and then from the front on the second. Switch legs here. One more here, and I didn't alternate. That's okay. Okay, and then on our feet for the mogul's hop. Pretend you got your ski poles if you want. I'm not much of a skier, so I don't know if you use your ski poles on this. Just side to side, nice soft landings. If you need to modify, as always, you could just do like a quick lateral step maybe instead. All right. We have our Piriformis Stretch. Just going to do it from the chair this time. Just give everyone some options. So I'm crossing my leg over. Leaning forward. Switching sides. Enough time to get down on the ground for our fire hydrants. So I go out, back, in, back, out. Out, back, in, back, out, in. Switch sides. Back, out, in, out, back, in. Okay. And again, we're really trying to not let the knee touch the ground there, and that will keep tension on the hips. On that muscle you're working right there. We're on round 2. Wouldn't be a workout with Dave if he didn't forget to change the round number. I'm keeping my chest up the whole time, keeping my body square to the front, right? You don't see me, turning all over the place. Just nice side to side. Stay square with the front of the room. Chest up. Keep my arms up to help me keep my chest up. Time. Excellent. Round 3. Well, that's what I'm going to do is on the ground. I'm going to cross my left leg over my right. Left hand through the hole, right hand on the outside. Fly the right knee towards the chest. Switch sides. Right hand through the hole, left hand on the outside of the left knee now. On the left leg towards the chest. Maybe you were following along with me and you sort of felt out how each of these stretches felt. We'll switch over to those around the roll fire hydrants. Out, in. Okay, and I'll give you guys the front view this time. Switch. I'm not alternating. I'm alternating for 2 reasons. One, it allows me to work the extension part as well as the lateral movement part fairly equally. But 2, it makes me think about doing that movement rather than just sort of going through the motions. Sometimes when we have to think in a movement, we're less efficient at it. When we're less efficient at something, we burn more calories, but we get better. We form more neuromuscular pathways, which is good for the brain. It's also good for that body-muscle connection, and we'll become stronger because we'll have more pathways to activate those muscles to do the work. And just like that, we're done. Whew. We'll go ahead and grab some water. I'm going to throw up exercise group 3 for you. So I'll show you 2 ways you could do the bicep stretch. 3 ways, really. I'm probably going to stick it from doing it from the ground. But you guys can do the standing arm straight, pull down on your fingers. You can do that. If you find maybe your forearms are more tight than your biceps. You can do this from a wall as well, which is hard to demonstrate for me because the wall is facing away from you. But essentially, what you're going to do at shoulder height is place, so I would rather be here, place your palms on the wall, hands on the wall, keep the arms straight. It's more like this here. Again, hard for you to see. I'm going to do it from the quadruped position where I'm on the ground. I'm trying to get my fingers pointed behind me, arms straight, and I'm just going to lean forward into that. That's going to be the one I'm going to do. Prone eye raises. We've done these before on our stomachs, heads down. We're going to lift, straight arms up. And I'm just using the shoulder blades there as my sort of fulcrum of the movement. I'm not lifting my chest off. I'm not lifting my feet off the ground. I'm not using my glutes. And I'm keeping my thumbs pointed up, thumbs up the whole time. Just like that. Jab, cross, hook. Again, it's not going to look too coordinated. I'm not a boxer. We're going to switch halfway through which side's our lead hand. But jab, cross, and hook. Right? Jab, cross, and we're actually going to go hook with the other side there. Jab, cross, hook. Jab, cross, hook. Halfway through, we'll switch sides. Jab, cross, hook. Right? Alrighty. We'll get started with our bicep stretch. I'll start with the standing one so that you guys can see that. If you want to do the quadruped one or the wall one, you can go ahead. But I'm just going to do the standing one to start in 3, 2, and 1. So the disadvantage of this one, I find, is it doesn't target the bicep as much. But also halfway through, you have to switch sides. And maybe this one is a little bit better for you, but again, it won't target the bicep as much. I'm just trying to keep that arm straight. Arm elongated, pulling down on those fingers halfway through I switch. That's another disadvantage of this one is you can't work both sides at the same time, but it's a little nicer that for some people than being on the ground. Enough time for me to get on the ground. All right, and I'm keeping my head up only so that I can talk, but ideally, I'm down on the ground, thumbs are pointed up, nothing else is moving. Take a second to look at the time, 10 more seconds. Actually, no, we're done there. No, 10 more seconds. Math can be hard sometimes. All right, our jab, cross, hook. Hope I don't stop my phone. Jab, cross, hook. 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 Jab. I think I gotta move my phone. It's sort of distracting me here. Jab, cross, hook, and we'll switch sides. Jab, cross, hook. Jab, cross, hook. And it's getting a little sloppy there, so I'm gonna just slow it down. Hook. Again, I'm not a boxer, so sometimes that gets a little sloppy for me. All right, and then I'm gonna get down on the ground for my bicep stretch. And I'm just pointing my fingers back as much as I can, keeping my elbows straight or locked out and pushing my arms forward. So we're at this halfway point. I'll give you guys a different view. You can see that. Enough time to get down into that I raise. Arms are up. Again, arms straight ahead, right? So I think I cheated a little bit last round with having my arms almost in a Y pattern. Try to keep yourself accountable. Keep those thumbs up. Keep your arms straight. And lift from the shoulder blade, right? I focus more so on my thumbs being up and lifting my elbows. I find if I focus on lifting from my elbows, I'm more likely to use that fulcrum of the shoulder blade. Cross, hook, jab, cross, hook, jab, cross, hook, jab, cross. I shouldn't probably be hooking with my lead arm. It just feels more like a cardio movement. Oh, should have switched. That's okay. Just feels more like a cardio movement when I alternate. All right, we got our 10 seconds break. That's time for me to get back down on the ground, get that round up time. And you might find now you're able to get a little bit more with the fingers pointed behind you. I can never get them to point straight back. Some people have a little bit more flexibility in that, right? Mine's certainly gotten better as I do these stretches more, as I practice this more. But guys tend to do a lot of bicep curls. That makes their biceps tight and makes it difficult for them to do those stretches. All right, into those pronais. Really lifting from the back, right? This is a back exercise. I'm focusing on keeping my thumbs up, lifting up my elbows by using the muscles in my back. Keeping my arms straight ahead of me in that I pattern. And we're done with those. One more round of me looking silly with my uncoordinated boxing patterns. Jab, cross, hook. See, that's what I mean with non-alternating. It just looks a little bit awkward, feels a little bit awkward. Sides. You can really go ahead and get some frustrations out here. You know, it's that upper body cardio that we don't get so often, so it's okay to be not so coordinated with it. All right, and that's exercise group 3. We are running a little bit behind on time. So, soleus stretch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this chair here. You don't have to, but I like the chair because I can put my weight on it. The soleus stretch, I'm gonna have a slight bend. I'm in a lunge position. I'm just gonna have a slight bend in my trail leg, as you can, I'm shaking it there, and keeping my heel down. And that's just going to migrate the stretch a little bit. If you're having a tough time with that, don't waste your time trying to perfect that back knee bend. Just go with the leg straight into the more of a gastroc stretch. You're still going to get a bit of a soleus stretch in there. Lateral jumps, similar to our mogul hops, but we're going to focus more on getting into that squat and hot feet because I don't need this currently, just so that I can get a bit more space forward and back. Hot feet forward, hot feet back, right? Always moving the arms. All right, so we'll start with our soleus stretch in 3, 2, and 1. Back leg only has a slight stretch or a slight bend in it, right? It's just enough to migrate the stretch a little bit. Switch sides. Slight bend in the back leg. You know, we're in that split squat or lunge stance. I'm just using the chair to support my body weight as I do this. Keeping that back heel into the ground. My chest stays up though, keep those nice straight lines. So our lateral jumps is our strengthening exercise, right? So we want to take time, sit into that squat, come off the ground. And if you have a tough time with jumping, right, I can take that lateral step, squat, lateral step, squat. If jumping is an issue, that shouldn't stop you from doing any of these workouts. You should still be able to do a modification to make the workout your own. Excellent. And then our hot feet. Hot feet forward, top of my arms, hot feet back, right? And hot feet just means small steps. Like when you're a kid, you just get out of the pool, walking on black asphalt, you take those quick steps. I think I started a little bit early on this one. Maybe not. I'll give you guys a side view next time. So I'll just stretch out too. Maybe this time we'll just do the gastroc stretch. Right? Straight leg. Heel into the ground. I don't need to be bent over on this. I can stand and still feel a stretch here, but I find I can get a bit of a deeper stretch. Switch sides if I'm leaning forward on something. Again, I don't need to be down here. I can be standing straight up to get that stretch. I find I just get a deeper stretch when I do it this way. Lateral jumps are next. Running around too, so we're almost there. I spent a little bit more time explaining exercises today. I'll try to be better on time, but I just feel it is invaluable to get those extra little bit of information, tips on how to do the exercise. Perfect. Hot feet. I'll go this way this time. Catch my breath. Hot feet. Keeping the chest up, you know, there's a slight hinge in my hips, slight bend in my knees. You know, very similar to the tire drill that you see in every single football movie. 10 more seconds. Perfect. Final round. Woo! We'll go back to that sole stretch. We'll bend the back knee this time. Pressing that back heel into the ground. Switch sides. Oh, don't have that bend in my knee. There we go. I find my gastrocs are a little tighter than my soleus, so I tend to lean a little bit more towards that, but still important to do both. Hinge at the hips and that squat, and I take that lateral jump, keep my chest up. Everything's square to the front too, right? When I jump, I'm not turning. Aiming for the hips, bending at the knees, loading, exploding. And as always, if I need to, you know, I can just go into that lateral step and squat, depending on if I feel comfortable jumping, depending on a lot of things. And our last exercise our hot feet. I'll do a mixture of both here, forward and back, and side view, so that you guys can see every view, get the most information that you can. Switch sides here, last 10 seconds. I know some of these exercises might seem a little silly to be doing in your home, but we're all done there. It's a good way to break up your day and get your heart rate up a little bit more. We'll just do our standing stretches here just because we're running out of time. You know, I always think doing some of these exercises, like the hot feet or the jab, cross and hook. Just doing our crossbody shoulder stretch here. That, you know, it probably looks a little silly from the outside looking in, but you know, if you weigh that against the consequences, if I'm sedentary so long, I'm doing my chest opener here, holding on to my one wrist. You know, if I develop heart disease because I was sedentary for so long during this pandemic, I think I'd rather take my chances of looking silly with a few punch combinations, or, you know, you don't have to look silly. You can always find, you know, exercises like those lateral jumps where it's a little bit more standardized, but it certainly keeps things fresh. We'll go to the tricep stretch overhead. Certainly keeps things fresh. Definitely got my heart rate up. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's class. Switch sides. I hope I hope it was explained well. I know I went a little bit over time here. But as always, if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't be a stranger. Feel free to reach out. We're always happy to answer your questions. But if not, if everything's good, I will see you guys on Thursday.